Welcome back to Razmafsar TV. Um, Today I'm going to talk about the development of Persian shields, Iranian shields, and from ancient Iran up to the end of the Qajar period. I already did this video in Persian, but one of my followers, Uriel, asked me to do it in English as well, so I'm going to do it in English. First of all, thank you for your interest, and I'm going to talk about it. First of all, in Iran, through all these ages, different types of shields were used. What I'm going to do is just a short introduction in a wonderful world where you can see different types of shields that they were used in Iran. For example, here, just see Achaemenids use different types of shields, and this is one type, right? And this is this rounded shields, and then in Parthian the shield gets smaller, although there were different sizes. And during Sassanid period or Sasanian period, you see that this is also a round shield. Here in Achaemenid was oval shield, round shield, to a small round shield, the shield gets bigger. And then during, this is a Safavid period, Zand period, the Qajar period, you see some different types of shields and sizes were used. And I'm going to explain a short history of them. Later on, I can make more videos, and I will make more videos on different types of shields. So please consider this as an introduction. First of all this information you see, it has been published in my book Arms and Armor from Iran and Lexicon of Arms and Armor from Iran. And in case you're martial artists and you're interested in swordsmanship, you can go and also find more information in Persian archery and swordsmanship. So let me just go ahead. During Achaemenid period, three types of shields generally were used. One of them is this oval type of shield. If you look at it here, there is a large buckle, shield buckle, and this shield buckle consists of four different roundish material, and you will be very interested that there are some of them which were made of metal, of copper alloy, bronze, and other metals were already survived. Possibly they were made of wood or even hide. Some parts, fossilized parts of it, you can find in Iranian museums, but not a complete one, as far as I know. You see that there are two holes here. So there are different speculation of what these holes were meant for. Speculations, I repeat. One of them is that once you keep them, right, let's say your arm, your forearm is here, holding a strap, you could bring it up when they're holding a formation, as Achaemenids did. You could bring it up and look at it, throw it, or as some people say, because there is an opening, you could put your arshti, which is a spear, through it, and then thrust, possible action. And another one that some people also say, that if the shield was attacked and a shield and a spear, enemy spear goes in, will be here and it might go here, you can trap it and then counterattack and kill your opponent with your own arshti, your own spear. In ancient Persian, it was called arshti or nezak. Later on also in Middle Persian, and then it was called in Achaemenid period Arshtibara. Remember that next to kaman, to bow, archery, Achaemenid soldiers were proud of their spears, and also they were proud of their bows. Bows and spears played an important role. We hear it constantly that in all battlefields, spear played a major role, much more than swords did. And many people who do sparring and who also do armored combat and also do sparring say that fighting against an ace is very hard. I used to be one of them. Nowadays, I say I am not that sure, and I will explain why. First of all, the reason of having having spears is clear. One of them is an economic issue. Economic issue is it is by far cheaper to make spears because you need to make only a spearhead, which forging it will not take as long, does not take as much skills. And I'm not saying it's not, you don't need skills to forge a shield, but at least it will be much faster than to forge out a mid-sized blade or also a mid-sized blade and also a long-sized blade. So this is what we can see it here. Then if you take a look at this, so this is this one, and then we have it here, and this was economic issue. Another issue which is also important to take into consideration, and we might say that it played also a role, was that spear, okay, the economic issue was cheaper, was easier to learn. And I can really corroborate, I can really agree to that. Even today, fighting with the sword, you need more time to get really used to it. But fighting with the spear, it is easier to learn. The third one is that you have a longer reach, especially in formation, it plays a role. And today when we do sparring, we see it, that fighting against the spear is very, very hard. But I just said a caveat is here. When we fight with spear or a lance, let's stick to a spear, you're on foot, you're fighting with a spear, you can use this part as to cut, because Persian spear, you see that, was not only like a European spear, as many Europeans at least claim. Even there, I have my doubts, but anyhow, a Persian spear like a Japanese naginata or even yari, and also pole arms were used to strike. You strike and cut, you strike with the shaft, you strike with bonenese, and here there are apple bearers. Some of these apples were made of copper alloys, some of them even the ceremonial ones of silver, and some of them even of gold, as reported, or at least they were gilded or silver overlaid. And then you can cut and you can thrust with that, and you can strike with this part, which looks like if you take a look at it here, it's roundish, it's like a bonenese spear butt, which functions like a mace. So you have a mace here, you can have also a cutting instrument here and a thrusting instrument. Because of the length of your nase, because of the length of the shaft, you are capable of delivering much through leverage, much harder cuts and more powerful strikes and cuts. And additionally, you can hold the nase like this. You put your hand here, one hand here, let's stick here, then here where you are holding it this way without the shield, and then you, even with the shield is possible because you are holding it with straps, and you can just thrust with the shaft and push back your opponent. You can thrust below the, even if he's armed, below his armored, below his throat. You can push, and you can also use your pole arm, your spear, to trap him and to throw him. Still, I just said I changed my mind a bit because, and before I go out, even if he gets close to you, you can put your hand here, you can plant here on the ground, grab his neck and thrust him and use it like a dagger in his throat or whatever, backton, I mean. But again, I'm not so sure, because when we do not, as we have to, because of safety reasons, we fight with unsharpened weapons, we have two scenarios. One scenario is like we do in the Battle of the Nations, or in any armored combat, or as we do in Raznovsar, we strike with full force. If you strike with full force, all weapons become like a baton, or like a club, like a mace. So of course, the longer weapons, with more force behind it, like this one is an unsharpened mace, you have an advantage. Or you play like a game of tags. You go by points as they do in HEMA, in most HEMA clubs. If you do that, you say, okay, the first hit counts, right? It means that you don't have any armor. Even if you're unarmored, even cutting a person in Gambison is not easy. Cutting is not as easy or even trusting when he has Gambison, as in contrast to what many people think. But again, in any case, if you do HEMA style fighting, like first hit, then you win, or if you do like armored combat full contact, that you do full force, a longer reached weapon, in the first case, as you hit a game of tags, of longer reach, you can tag your opponent, you can hit your opponent faster. And if you go by force, like a blunt trauma, again, your spear has an advantage. But the thing is, what if you face with your sharpened spear a sharp shamshir? Shamshir is a terrible and vicious cutting instrument. Again, it also depends on your armor, but even if you are in an armor, your opponent looks for gaps in your armor, below your neck, right, face, below your armpits. So you see, the situation is much more difficult than we think. So because thankfully, or we cannot make a simulation as we used to have in the past, I'm not so sure. But the other factors remain. Spears are cheaper to produce. Spears have a longer reach. Spears are easier. It's easier to train your troops with spear. And as I said, economically, it's cheaper to produce. Anyhow, during Achaemenid period, they used, this is the sword Akanakis, which we talked about, Akanakis or Akanake, talked about it. These are these 4 buckles. As I said, one main buckle consists of 4 different roundish buckles. And as you can see, Archtibara either used their spear, the Archti, with a shield or without a shield. 2 types, as we also use in Razmafsar today. Look at the Farbahar, symbol of Farbahar, and here you can see that he has a Akanakis together with an Archti. There is also another one here. You see the bottom of it is V-shaped. We have also Achaemenid shields, which are made of cane, and then also there are glue. They are in fossilized state. You can find it in museums, also in Iran. And then they are they used to glue them to each other via a natural glue, and combined with some type of clay. And this is this one, and here is a V shape, but some of them are rectangular type. And you see also in some Achaemenid stone reliefs the rectangular type, which covers them from below the eye up to the ankle, very long. You could really build shield walls behind them. This type, and this type, I mentioned it to you, this is possibly also made of cane, or a reed or whatever. And you see that there are different layers, possibly, I said. And look at how deep it goes to provide you with protection. And as you can see, he is carrying 2 Archti, right? And these Archtis are shorter, possibly, as some researchers say, indicating also throwing spear, javelin. When we go here to the next one, during the Parthian period, we talked also about Parthian swords here. I've shown you some examples which I handled and measured in Iranian museums, specifically in Iran Bastan Museum, National Museum of Iran. And here you see that he's carrying his sword here via scabbard slide system and with a Parthian spear, and he has a shield, small shield here. During Sassanid period, you can see that he is having a larger shield together with his lance, and this shield is getting, there is also some decorations on it. So you see that the round shields have been always in Iran. There. Here you see that during Afsharid period, this one is from Tarikh Alamarای Naderi, and you can see here how he's using a large shield, and he's trying to defend himself, and he's trying to cut him. And he's trying to defend himself against the spear strike, unsuccessfully, as you can see it here. You see, unfood shamshir is used in contrast to what many people think, but we will talk about it later on. Spear here you see two-handed using, but look, now we are talking about the shield. This is one main buckle. This resembles more like some Ottoman Kalkan shields. That type of shield was also used in Iran. And here with 6 shield buckles, and I will explain why some of them have 4 and some of them have 6. This is a buffalo hide. Most shields in Iranian museums, which belonged to the collection of Nasruddin Shah Qajar, are made of hide. In contrast to what many people think, before I published my book Arms and Armor from Iran, people didn't know that Iranians used many hide shields. Actually, if you go to Persian manuscripts, they're full of accounts, many accounts of hide shields used in Iran, made of rhino hide or made of buffalo hide. And also Iranian museums are full of them. Right? And I measured this one. This is from the Safavid period. 4.5 kilos, 4,500 kilos is this one. The advantage of a hide shield is that it makes it lighter to carry, but this one you see 61.5 centimeter in diameter from Military Museum of Tehran in Iran, Safavid period. It has 6 buckles, and I will explain. These buckles can be used to shield punch. Shields in Iranian traditions are not only there to defend, but also an offensive weapon. Use them to shield punch. Back of it, everything is here original. You can see that here there is polished stack, which is made of cotton and different fabrics, linen, so it protects your hand. So you put your hand basically here and grab it in the palm of your left hand if you're right-handed and you have shamshir or other weapon in your right hand, and your elbow goes through this. The next one, it has 4 buckles, and this is made of beautifully made crucible steel blade, Safavid period, 2,270 grams, and the diameter is 39.5 centimeters. Look at this. And bar 4, here if you hold your hand, the punch, imagine you make a punch and then your punch is here. That's so your shield's held that way. But this one, because your elbow comes here, your hand, the back of your hand is here, not your punch here. So here when you want to do a shield punch, it's more like you do a back fist, right? And once you do a shield punch with 4 buckles, it's as if you do a jab or you do a cross. That's the difference. When some people ask, what is the difference between 2 types of different shield punches? Again, with 6 buckles, it looks like a, as we say in karate, uraken, like a back fist, and with this one you do like a boxing straight punches, or like suki in karate, as we say. This is also a larger shield from buffalo hide. This is 51 centimeters, 1,880 grams from Afsharid period, also Military Museum of Iran. All these dimensions, I had them all in my hand and measured them. You can go and see them in my book, Arms and Armor from Iran. The back of it here, you see everything again original. And please do not underestimate hide. Buffalo hide and rhino hide are really, really strong. You see that the shield buckles are made of copper alloy, and each one of them is beautifully adorned and decorated with minakari, as we say, enameling. 51 centimeters and 1,880 grams is the shield. And you see that it is beautifully decorated in floral and vegetal design, as you can see it here. And then here it is riveted. See that here? Look at these beautiful flowers here as well. Just because they have decoration doesn't mean that they're decorative items. Persian warriors, if they could afford it, really decorated their arms. Never forget that. And there is also a crescent here, half moon. Look at this. This is a decorative element here. And this one is from the Zand period. This one is magnificent, made of buffalo hide, 51 centimeters, 3,270 grams. This is a masterpiece of Iranian craftsman. Take a look at that. The whole surface is engraved in beautiful flowers, mostly in the Zand period they did this flower work. And these are traceable in documents in Iranian museums because they belong to Iranian kings. In this case, Military Museum of Tehran. Another buffalo hide is from the Qajar period, 49 centimeters, 2,620 grams. Military Museum of Tehran in Sadabad complex. Again, all of them are in my book, Arms and Armor from Iran. You see copper alloy for shield buckles with a crescent, which is chiseled. Back of it, the polished deck. You see that these cords are torn off. You see that here you have a ring, and this ring goes and then riveted to the buckle, which is in the front. Then there is another shield from the Qajar period, and this shield has a diameter of 39 centimeters and is 1,960 grams from Military Museum of Tehran in Sadabad complex. Just of it, the whole surface is chiseled floral design, and also with Qajar princess, and then hunting scenes as well, showing a tiger or Asian lions, deers. And this is this typical hunter in Qajar style. Whole surface is hand chiseled, as you see how beautiful, and then also gold overlaid in this, so partially gold overlaid. The back of it is also covered, as you can see here. It's felt, very beautifully done. 39 centimeters is the diameter, and 1,960 grams it weighs. The next shield, towards the end of the Qajar period, we started to decorate the shields with tizab, as they call it, etched. This is one of those etched ones, but not all etched ones are bad. This is a very good shield, but with an etched surface. Weighs 2,620 grams from Military Museum of Tehran in Sadabad complex. 51.2 centimeters is the diameter, and has 4 shield buckles. See this face of the sun. Look at the eyes, eyelashes, eyebrows, nose, mouth. This symbolizes the sun. You see that? And back of the shield, and it's missing its polished deck. This is another one, but it's chiseled, beautifully chiseled. More information about this is in Persian archery and swordsmanship in my book. You can find all this information, classification, all these items, and many more shields on me in my book, Arms and Armor from Iran. If you have more, if you are interested, you can also check for the etymology of different words related to it in Lexicon of Arms and Armor from Iran. Then Persian archery and swordsmanship is another book you can take into consideration if you wish to take into account. Then we have Aetosite, a 17th century Persian treatise on sword classification from India. It's about swords, it's not about shields, but very interesting ones in case you're interested. You can find shields in heirloom of steel again. And also it's about crucible steel. And if you're interested, also we have shields made of crucible steel, as I explained, and Persian fire and steel about Persian firearms. At the end, I would like to thank you. This was a short story of shields in Iran, the use of shields. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And thank you very much for your interest. And please subscribe to my channel, make comments, like the videos, even older videos. Participate as much as you can so I can continue my research. And above all, please buy my books if you wish. Support it, because only this way I can keep going, making videos, making writing more books and publishing them. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and I wish everyone the best. Bye.